I'm having a download right now. So if you give me a minute, I just need to connect with this thought or with this. I got to stop referring to it as a thought. And that's just natural, like for my ego and my old programming to want to do. But when I say thought, I do mean download or, um, communication from the divine. So, anyways, let me tap in here a sec. And I don't know why it's this color. I don't know why I went that color. I don't know how to change that. But is that maybe this? Yeah, let me see. Sorry, let me check something out here. Oh, no. Oops, I don't know. Oh, I think that's about it. Ugh, I don't know. I don't know what happened to everybody, why it's this color, but I'm going to try. Anyways, let me connect. Okay, so I just had a really interesting download, and I get emotional when I have downloads. So just FYI, I might start crying, but it's just release cry, so it's good. Um, so think something that information that keeps being downloaded into my awareness is the fact that because okay, sorry, let me back up. I've been focused on the fact, or not focused, just there's a lot of information for me, puzzle pieces being brought to me to help me connect more with the understanding that my mom and dad and were narcissistic karmics, are narcissistic karmics. Were for my dad is for my mom. and and my whole family is. And understanding the traits, of a narcissist. One of the things that popped into my head, because I've been hearing a lot of downloads about wearing a mask. I've spoken about the fact that I'm aware that I put an unconscious survival mask up when I'm around other people or have to speak to more than one person or more, basically. There's like this automatic mask that goes up, right? And that's programming from a narcissist because they always wear a mask. So, as an empath, highly sensitive, that grew up in that type of narcissistic karmic dysfunction, you need to learn how to release that mask and not wear that mask anymore if you're trying to rise above the low vibrations of where narcissistic unhealed beings live in that parasitic lower level of the spectrum of energy. You got low vibrations, high vibrations up here. We'll do it this way instead of I typically go that way. But so one of the things I thought about was, whoa. Because, okay, no, I know I've got like a million thoughts right now. So or just a lot of information coming in about this right at the moment. So I was thinking, wow, yeah, when I had three solid relationships. There were more sprinkled in and around these three, but there are three that in my mind stick out as important ones because I really got to see what love was, at least a glimpse of it, through the eyes of a narcissist. And this is why I'm going to say this is the revelation of me really going, wow, you really were trained to be a narcissist. Unconsciously, subconsciously, still programmed, still running in the background. And this is part of what growing up in a narcissistic environment, what we have to learn how to do, which is hard. This is why narcissists don't want to heal, because it's a hard fucking journey. Because you're a narcissist for a reason. You're bitter and angry and in shame and fear and anger because you had so much trauma happen that you don't know where to begin to even start to heal that. At least that's my thought process of why most people won't. So far with my experience, with all the many narcissists I have had encountered in my life, and when I look back, looking back helps me see patterns. And patterns are good. Patterns help me get awareness for myself to help me be able to move forward. So I was thinking, I was like, these 3 relationships that I had, they were, like 2 years to the date, I was like, and like the thought came into my head, that was when your mask, my mask, I could only wear a mask for 2 years. This is why I was thinking about this, was there's been a lot of downloads about masks from certain people that I've had to let go of in this past year that have had them. And I've been able to see them in a more intimate way versus just understanding it, from being conned and gang stalked by all those people. That's, it's the same. It's just, it's a different level of learning that information, right? So, still watching my so's, sorry. And my sorry. Okay. Anyways, I realized that at 2 years, the relationships would just end. So 2 years. And then my mask would fall. And I couldn't keep up the charade of who and I remember always thinking, why are these relationships only lasting 2 years? And when I think back on that time period, I do remember this feeling like, this has become harder to be me with these people. But I didn't understand what that meant. I had no idea. And especially back then, since I was a more narcissist then than I am now, you're never the problem. Everybody else is always the problem, right? So, I felt like it was always them, you know what I mean? I would take a little bit of accountability, way more, like a little bit is even more than any narcissist. And so that shows you that like my body was trying to fight it. No, I don't want to be held down by this narcissistic low vibrational energy, right? That's like an empath, highly sensitive person, like trying to, wiggle your way out of it. So, what am I trying to get at here? Anyways, yeah, I heard it, I was like, wow, see, that's what that was. So it was me tonight having this epiphany of going, whoa, that was a total narcissistic move right there on my part, which in turn brings me back to this whole theory of I'm learning how to not be a narcissist. And I didn't become, nobody I'm sure wants to become one. Well, there maybe. Yeah, I don't know that to answer that completely. In my situation, I can tell you this. No, that was trained into me. That was just because of how I was raised. It was, it was 24/7 from the minute I was conceived because I was swimming in a family of narcissists. Swimming. Every one of them. So, of course I'm going to learn the white trash ways of living. For real, okay? It's about as, lifetime white trash as you can get, my story. Filled with incest, riddled with mental illness. And don't get me wrong, at no point when I ever talk about these things, this is just trying to make light of the situation in my scenario specifically. In no way do I downgrade any put any negative stigma or anything like that wrapped around mental illness. Fuck no. Like, I have a lot of respect. After dating my bipolar ex-boyfriend for 10 years, I wanted to fight for people, and specifically bipolar, because I had seen how hard it was for that particular group of people to get the help that they needed and learn how to help manage the illness. That's it. Because once you learn how to manage it, and you get past it. Same thing with PTSD, like I'm dealing with. Once you learn how to get past all that, it's everything. That's anything. We can all get past it. And that's the problem, though, is by the time it hits a point of physical or mental illness, it is deep. We've got deep wounds inside. And people that have gone to that low level, that's a hard level to come up from. That's what I'm experiencing. That's why it's so extreme. Like, I feel like I'm on the fucking, extreme vertical mountain fucking skiing or snowboarding or something right now. I don't know. Like, it's extreme, people. Like, and that's good awareness to have around this, because it helps you kind of, this came in right before I was going to go to bed. So, this is just the epiphany. Getting back to that, because I was veering, is the fact that I had been thinking, wow, I did the reason that the relationships would last 2 years is because I was good enough at holding my poker face, in a sense, my mask, for 2 years, my narcissistic mask. Unconsciously, though, I didn't know what that term meant. I couldn't have even if it would have gotten brought up to me back then, there's no way my unawakened space would have been able to grasp it in the way that I can see it now from a much wider perspective. So this is helpful. This is being, I'm going to speak about this, my revelation about this and my perspective, because this is going out to all the people, all the beings that have had to grow up in narcissistic families. Our journey is going to be harder. There's going to be a lot more obstacles because we have so much to overcome. We were literally trained how to learn or how to live life literally the complete opposite of what you should be doing. I mean, unless you want to live in a low vibrational way like that, then you're 100% spot on what you're doing, and staying not healing, staying low, parasitic, siphoning energy from other people because you're too lazy to do the work yourself, sort of thing, So I was like, wow, 2 years I was holding a mask. And that's why I thought about this, is because I had been thinking about somebody else who held like my mom, for instance. Like, when I went to go see her about a year ago now, just a little over a year, last December 2nd is when I saw her for the first time in 10 years. And had no idea yet at this point that first of all, she was dealing with bipolar, and that there was bipolar, obviously, then on that side of the family, which would have helped to understand that. But also that, like, to be honest, that there's undiagnosed narcissistic characteristics, like an actual diagnosis of narcissism that's occurring as well. Because, I mean, she straight up just is not wanting to attack anything. She stuffs everything. In fact, there's like a lot of lies going on, even about me. There's a lot of things I don't even know about me yet. I don't know who my real father is. I don't know who my real family is. I don't know, like, there's a lot of cult shit in my family. There's a lot of dark, negative, like, where I'm like, and that's what I'm saying is I grew up in this thinking that all this stuff was normal. And so I go see my mom about a year ago, and she could only hold her poker face for, I think it was a week, 2 weeks tops before that shit came out. That's how, how bad it is for her. Like, she can't even hold it. And then once I saw it, it was like, oh, wow, that's what's going on. And that's why I can put the pieces of my puzzle together now a little bit more. Why all these evil things that were done to me was because of that's who you are. You're somebody who doesn't want to heal. You're a very unhealed person that decided to have kids. It's unacceptable. Now, knowing this makes me extremely proud of myself that I had that abortion 27 years ago, because I broke the generational trauma. I broke the generational curse of continuing this incest, mental illness, narcissistic, low parasitic, just dirty, addictive ways of living, unhealthy. Projecting your unhealed wounds onto your children. Ew. Ew. The only regret that I would have had in my life was that situation, was did I make the right decision by doing that, having that abortion 27 years ago? Because it not only, I wasn't able to have that child, I lost a relationship because of it as well. I mean, I was karmic at the time, obviously a karmic narcissist at the time, in training, I had like 18, 19 years of training under my belt when that was happening. So, plus womb time. I tack on another, who knows, because like I said, I don't know. There's a man all my life that has been telling me he's my dad. Like, that's tried to start fights. I don't know if there's some like weird like story or like thing where like, who knows? Maybe I'm the child of like my mom and her brother or my grandpa and I don't know, dude. Like, shit is crazy. But the reason I talk about this is not to like, I'm not, I would like to get this figured out. That is something that I do plan to do. That's a forensic, because to me, I love the forensics investigations about all this, and I'll keep going until I find. What's sad though is that my own family members won't even call me back when I try to contact them about this. My opinion, that says a lot, and says a lot about the level, because I had heard that my grandpa was an influential man. He had a lot of land and a farm in this small town that they were from, and there was some weird shit. I've heard some stories. Like, this was some straight up deliverance, white trash kind of crap, for real. And I mean, it definitely was on my dad's side of the family. And, I already know, my mom already admitted, unless this is another lie of hers, but, there's got to be some truth to it in some way, whether it, like that her brother was molested by a Catholic church member. I forget which level of it. It wasn't the pastor, but it was somebody, one of them. And so then it's like, well, then if you're talking about that about him, did that happen to you? And so that's what I mean is there's so much unknown. Well, anyways, I have to have an understanding of all this to help me unravel me. And to help me understand, because once I understand why I did things when I was like, because I never got it. I just thought it was because, I knew I always had this really weird codependent relationship thing back then. Definitely got, like I said, the codependency thing, got rid of that. That was one of the first things I conquered, actually, which was awesome, because it made doing my hermit time beautiful. But what I was going to say is that I figured out, I always thought, like, why can I only last 2 years in a relationship? At a certain point, even though I would feel like I wasn't blaming it on them, I just wasn't putting, any accountability to it. I would always think to myself, like, what's wrong with me? Why is this happening? I'm a good person. It's like, you're a narcissist and you don't even know it, right? That's crazy. That's insane. I'm talking about this because I feel like there's more than just me that would have, this could maybe be helpful for somebody. Because again, once you understand this about yourself, if you're trying to heal, this information is helpful for you to understand about yourself. Because then you're aware that there's potentially programs in the background running for you that you need to put awareness and attention to. And because that's all you've known all your life, you wouldn't know that it needs to be changed, because you were raised as a narcissist. So you don't know. To you, that's a normal way of living. There is no other way. But once you start understanding, so that, for instance, a narcissist wears a mask. They lie all the time. Like they'll lie and make up stupid lies. Like the con man who broke my arm in the car accident, who to this day I'm pretty sure still is there. Yeah, you can kind of still see the bruise. That was back in 2017, for Christ's sakes. And I had to learn that he was a narcissist. I forget that. Okay, the car. I don't remember where I was going with that. But anyways, you need to know this. Awareness is going to help you if and only if you're trying to heal. Because if you're not, this is gonna piss you off because I'm calling this shit out and you don't want to hear it. So for any of you that are getting pissed off and are not enjoying watching this, you're a narcissist that doesn't want to heal. It's a fact. Just stating some facts here, people. Okay, so I understand that narcissists wear a mask around people that they want in their lives. And why did I want the boyfriends in my life? Love. I wanted love. So it had a pure intention, but, and of course I was reciprocating it, to karmics as well. And they were just unconscious karmics too, that, to this day, I know all of the ones that I'm speaking about have, healed themselves, at least to a place where I feel like they have. I feel the energies like they have. So, but it's besides the point. Okay. So what I'm trying to get at is that, narcissists wear masks. And the ones that don't want you to know who they are will leave if the mask starts to fall, or they'll get defensive on you and lash out on you if you're calling them out on things or questioning them, right? Or like somehow they'll sabotage something, they'll do a self-sabotage for sure. And basically that's what was happening at the ends of I think I was self-sabotaging the relationships. And my mask, that was the other thing, is during that time period, I was drinking. So I had that to help keep my mask on me. And I was thinking about that as well. Like, wow, my mom, that's why she doesn't want to stop drinking, because she's at a point where, and what's actually is sad for her, because drinking or not drinking, the mask is coming off pretty quick. Because I got to see her drunk with the mask coming off, swinging fists at me like a drunken old lady. And then also, sober as shit, mask coming off, because she got called on the fact of I just asked a simple question: who is my real dad? Can you be honest with me finally for once? And that made her mask fall off, because now I'm asking questions and I'm putting truth in her face that I know something. And that now defense. So what would a narcissist do? Call the cops on their daughter on their birthday. Would a loving mother do that to their daughter? No, this will not make sense to you. So anybody who's watching this who has never grown up with a narcissistic parent, you're also going to be very annoyed about a video like this, I'm assuming, because you're not going to understand this. And that's okay. I would rather you grew up in the happy, loving environment than to understand what I'm talking about. This is specifically for people that have grown up in that narcissistic environment and are trying to not be that. Which means you're trying to heal. You're trying to heal. That's it. So, continuing on this thought process and this download is the fact, I heard the is the fact that, okay, so the mask was coming off every 2 years. I could hold mine for 2. Before I couldn't anymore. And then my true self was coming out, and that at a time for me was uncomfortable, because I didn't know how to be that person. And I did not feel safe in this state ever. And it's this energy that I'm feeling right now. this heavy, dense energy. It contributed to feeling that. So the other part to this is that, nope, that's about it. I think I just really wanted to speak on that. I'm going to pause it because I want to make sure that I don't want to say anything else about all this, but my videos are really going to start speaking to those of us that do understand we grew up in a narcissistic family and that we are programmed narcissists trying to deprogram the narcissist out of our system by healing, because that's how you do it. But healing entails awareness. So you have to be able to be your own forensics investigator of your life, because you have to recognize the fact that you're not going to know the true story. Like I mentioned this in some previous videos here recently. I feel less like I know them now, but prior to all this, when I had started healing, when I had left them initially with the assumption that I was going to heal, become strong enough, and be able to go back and help give them support and healing if they wanted it, at the very least, give them love, assuming that they wanted it. But see, if I knew that they were narcissists, and if I had understood what that meant when I was doing all that before I reconnected, I would have never come back, because it's understanding the level of narcissist that they're at. And I got to see it's about as evil. It's as evil as a strange con man who's trying to come in and con you for everything you have and continue to try to kick you when you're down out of revenge. You have to have that understanding, because if that's how they are, you need to separate, and you need to be that they're not going to heal. You have to gauge that, because this is one person coming off the programming of narcissistic regime that we can heal. Narcissists can heal. Why do many not want to? Because it's a shitty journey. It sucks. It's hard. It's hard, people. But it's possible. And that's always what I've known throughout my entire journey. Always. And that was something I always thought about when I knew that I wanted to be able to speak on my journey, because I've been feeling deep within that there is a group of us, that this is hard. And there's so many people that don't understand this journey. So they can make it harder for us by, because I'm talking people even in the spiritual community, because once you realize that it's, people that are trying to be high vibrational or low vibrational, it's easy to, once you start identifying what a narcissist is, what a karmic narcissist is, what that looks like, and understand that it's all the low vibrations and it's unhealed traumas, typically from childhood, brain damage, things like that are so deep and embedded, and usually entail, the abuses, and a lot of times will entail, all the way to sexual abuse. It doesn't have to be always all the time, but typically that's what, if that is something that is within the family, then there absolutely is going to be some mental illness wrapped around that. If they have chosen not to help themselves, because that's just what's going to happen. It's just logical. It's the evolution of how that occurs. So once you understand that, and then you see that you have then there's these high vibrational people. Okay, let's just sorry, I'm going to go half and half. Okay, so now let's just say it's half and half. It's not that, because actually it's maybe more like, we'd be lucky to think it's like 80 narcissists, and, maybe 20% of the high vibrational, spiritually uplifted, awakened beings. Even so, you got that. Let's just say 80%. You got them figured out for the most part. Where you're like, okay, yeah, good, I'll spot it. cut it off, you can spot it, cut it off right away. That's the whole point, Think about video games when you spot like the bad guy, you just you either kill him or you walk away, right? And move on to the next thing or whatever. So now the next thing is that the spiritual community, just because they're spiritual does not mean that they're going to get your journey. No. In fact, this is going to be a great fucking analogy. I got it. So one of the things that bothered me when I started doing research into bipolar to see how I could support my ex-boyfriend, and that's how I would always do it. If I didn't understand something, I would just dive into research, days and weeks, months, whatever, however long it would take. And I would read everything, watch everything, speak to people, contact universities. And that's what happened is I, started realizing that many of the therapists out there I started finding a trend that many therapists don't handle bipolar because it's a longer process of helping a person try to manage that. And a lot of them that come in are not as committed to wanting to heal it for themselves. So it can be very draining for a therapist. So, I get that, like why that, to all their own, but that meant that there was such a small niche of therapists that were like really able to help somebody that was diagnosed with that, like a manic bipolar. And it was sad because, people literally would like, when I'd call certain professors and they'd be like, bipolar? Nope, sorry. Like, okay, calm down, right? Calm down. Like, well, I don't want to touch that. No, I don't want to touch that area. Okay. And so I would ask, like, well, can I just ask you, why are you, like, what's the fear? Like, what's going on? And that's how I found out, right? So they don't want to deal with that because it's just a deeper level that people don't want to dig into, right? It can be exhausting. And so fair enough, we all have our, what we can handle. But I just felt that because of it, there needed to be more information about it to the public so that there wasn't so much stigma, especially for the men. Because I know that my ex, that was one of the reasons he fought his diagnosis, because the stigma. And it was sad because he was really intelligent, And anyways, so, okay, so there's that. So now think about somebody like ourselves who are programmed narcissists in healing, in recovery, who are trying to ascend higher in our healing journey, in our awakening. I personally have had a chance now to speak to multiple people in physical form and online. And I literally, to this day, truly only have like one person that I can confidently say I trust her guidance. Everybody else, like, they don't get it. They want to say, oh, you seem like you don't want to heal, or like, it's like, no, bitch. No, bitch. I've been fucking, this is my job. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this has been my fucking mission. But some of us are ascended masters that took the fucking hard levels, where it's not just this one issue that you're dealing with at a time. We're dealing with like 10 issues at a time, okay? And maybe we've never dealt with them in our lives, And we're also having this to understand in a society that wants to say, oh, let's not put labels on things. It's not about putting labels. It's about understanding if somebody is going to want to heal or not. That's it. That is it. And so you get people saying like, oh, don't put the label of narcissist on it. It's tacky. That's a tacky statement. That's a very ignorant statement. And you really should stop saying that. It's embarrassing, to be honest. Because Nobody, like, when I first realized this, when I had this epiphany a couple of months ago, that I was like, oh my God, like, I can recognize certain like narcissistic qualities that I had been doing from my past, and maybe that I was still doing to current day. A couple of things where I was like, oh, what the fuck? Am I a narcissist? And I was like, it was horrifying for me. I was like, so obviously nobody wants to say that, but the reason that you want to see that, if it is in yourself, is because it helps you identify. I just still have a low vibration that I need to release. And so that awareness is good to know. And it's an awareness, not a judgment. Okay, so I can never say that enough. But anyways, in the spiritual community, you have this percentage as well of people that want to put this stigma around people. And it's like, there's different levels of people with, on the, like, that came down from their soul contract into this, into this timeline on earth at this time, where some of us have it easier than others. Easier in the way where there's less obstacles. So that doesn't, just because there's more obstacles for us, does not give you the right to say that I don't want to heal because I still have obstacles. That's what some of the spiritual people will do. And that's inappropriate. Or if you try to ask questions, like, again, coming from a narcissistic environment, to have to open your mind up to this, this now space when your mind is programmed to be in past and present, or past and future. Again, this takes a minute to reprogram. It's not that you don't want to heal. And I am speaking this to you because if it's been said to me, then I know it's been said to others. And just know that I know you want to heal, because you are healing, and that's inappropriate. So that's just another way for people you know what I mean? Like, so there is the small amount of us that are going to resonate with this. I mean, I'm doing this to also potentially surprise myself on how many are going to, but well, actually, I kind of proved myself. Well, okay, let's think about this, because, like, honestly, let's just say there were 80% narcissists. How many of these narcissists are going to try to heal? Not all 80%, that's for fucking sure. Because that's the thing is you have to have fucking strength to go on this healing spiritual awakening. But if you have that strength and that hope and that faith, trust me, you'll get there. I am proof of this. It's happening. But it just is taking longer, and that is okay. Think about it. When you play a video game and you have a more difficult challenge to be able to solve the whole game, that's basically what this journey is learning how to solve the whole game. It takes longer than getting to just the first level. To get from the first level to the completion of the whole game, that takes longer. So an ascended master's spiritual awakening is going to take longer. There's going to be more obstacles, like there's more obstacles in a video game. And some people in the video world don't want to take the time to learn how to get to the end of a game. In the same way that people are never going to, certain people within the spiritual awakening community don't want to take the time to understand that there is another level besides their own. So there's a whole nother level of ego that you have to still discern within the spiritual community. Okay, so sorry, I get a little worked up about this because to me, this has been very, at times, when I've allowed it to be self-defeating, because I've agreed with people when, like, they're like, don't you think that maybe you're just not wanting to heal? And I remember thinking, like, no, like, I'm literally fucking offended that you're saying this, because you know how fucking hard I work all the time? And, I get that that's, kind of, I'm making my own point, like, you shouldn't have to work hard. But again, there's different levels. It's not about working hard, it's about working smarter. And that's what this is about, right? This is about learning how to work smarter in this. And the first way to do that is having an awareness of what level of vibration you're coming from. Because once you do know that and you can say, shit, I'm a programmed narcissist in recovery. You're in recovery. Nice. Because if you can say as a narcissist, programmed narcissist, that you're in recovery, that's the first fucking step. Because a narcissist that doesn't want to heal won't even get to that level. So if you can get to that level, you're going to get there. Because that's the other group then, is the ones that don't want to heal. But they're going to be your worst enemy in this. And then you're going to also have people that you have to discern. They're not going to necessarily be enemies in the spiritual community, but they're going to be annoying, like, gnats, where it's like, dude, don't be speaking things that you're acting like you're trying to, religion it out again. And it's like, this is supposed to be about unity and about helping and respecting other people and knowing that we're all on different journeys. You know what I mean? So the epiphany. Think about this for yourself. Did you have a moment where relationships would only last a certain amount of time? And did they, was it always like a year, 6 months, 44 on the clock, everybody, the fours. I'm going to try to end it again on 44 this time. So this is my challenge to you is that if you haven't yet figured it out and you are trying to awaken, use that as a guide for yourself. If you're trying to figure, there's a lot of different things we can, use and look back on. And maybe I'll do a video on what a narcissist is and go through areas where I could see myself and give examples of where I can see where the programmed narcissist was coming out in me. Like I say, as an empath and a highly sensitive person, this is horrific for me to be able, I'm embarrassed, and once I would be embarrassed if I didn't have awareness of why it occurred. And the fact that I'm trying to make that better. It's the narcissists, 41, 44, man, the fours and the 144, you guys. But so confirmation if you're watching this, just FYI, and know that you're chosen, man. You're for sure fucking chosen. If you're on this type of a path and you're choosing to have faith and see the hope and the light, right? So if you see yourself having that particular life experience where relationships would end in a certain amount of time, and you couldn't hold a relationship. Or, even around people, if you felt like you can look back on those moments and see specific times. I just saw 42:22 on the clock too, guys. So, where you could see yourself, where I could see myself feel like, wow, I feel like I'm different. I could feel the difference in myself from that too. But again, I was projecting those things onto my partner at the time and making it his fault. Like a true narcissist, right? Woo! Sorry, that's insane to think about. Sorry, I know the video is pretty bad when I'm back so far. I'm trying to stay up, but I am going to have more revelation on this because to me, this is the area that is not spoken about, that we need to get more information on so that there's not this continued ridiculous stigma, especially within the so-called spiritually awoken community. Not everybody's like that, but if you're resonating with this channel, I'm sure you've had experience with at least one. And if you haven't, they're out there, so be aware. But again, in the way that I wanted to spread awareness for bipolar back in the day, this is me now having the opportunity to spread awareness around the fact of when you grow up in a narcissistic family, that you have to identify that. It's very important because you are therefore a programmed narcissist yourself. And if you want to heal, That's a harder heal. It's not that it's hard in a bad way. 44-1-1, you guys. It's just, it takes more dedication. It takes more focus. It takes more understanding that you're going to need to really dig down deep for strength. That is, you're going to test yourself, but by the end of it, man, it's going to feel so amazing, right? 44:34 on the clock, everyone. Sending my love and my gratitude to everybody. 44:41, and here we are. Thank you for watching.